I've been trying very hard to find an approach for this review because this is a very specific phone, and mostly it's specific because of its size and the battery capacity. So, to dive into this, usually you always talk about the design first, and the design is polarizing because the phone is small. It resembles the 13, 14 series of iPhones, I agree, and most reviewers say that one thing that I genuinely dread when they say like it fits in the hand. But the reality of the matter is that it really does. And the dimensions of this phone are exactly the same as the old HTC One M8. So when you do grab this phone, it's not just about the sheer size, it's the weight distribution and that you're going to hold it and you don't feel that you're going to drop it or that the top is heavier and so on. And I'm somebody who's coming from using Note 20 Ultra for a very long period of time. So this becomes far more manageable putting it in the pocket and so on. I'm not really going to talk about the flat edges. Yeah, when you take it in your hand, like you feel it's sharp, but as everybody else on this planet, like you're going to take a case. This is a Samsung branded case. You put it in, and those jutting edges disappear. The camera bump disappears. Your phone is protected. It's not going to scratch. If you want to sell it or resell it again, you're going to, keep it safe, and that's pretty much it. So the design of the phone is absolutely great. What I do like is that the bottom firing speaker is at the top, so that when I'm playing games and when I'm holding the phone like this, I don't have any situations where I would accidentally cover the speaker grill and then have problems with the audio. So yeah, the design of the phone is awesome. The camera island, like I said, it's very small and unintrusive. It disappears the moment you put a good case on it. It's very small, very pocketable, fits great in the hand, and I absolutely love it. If you go for this phone and not the S22 Plus or the S22 Ultra, you do go to this phone for the size. Like, it generally reminds me of the time, my favorite time of Android phones with HTC and Sony with Arc S and Xperia Ray and so on, and HTC coming out with the One M7, when you feel this tiny little thing that's in your pocket and it's powerful and it's your daily companion, but it's just not dropping your pants down and so on. So yeah, the selling point of this phone definitely is the size. And of course, with the size, we do have a smaller display. Now, I'm not going to talk about 1080p resolution. It's the same thing I always keep saying. It's the size versus the resolution that matters, which means that you do get 425 pixels per inch, which is way more than enough. If you look at the Note 20 Ultra display, which is a 7-inch behemoth, where you have to choose between 1080p or 120 hertz, sorry, 1440p or 120 hertz. Most people are going to go for 120 hertz, and then you get 320 ppi, which is, not nearly as good as this. The display is absolutely amazing. First of all, it's small, everything is easy to reach and so on. I'm not going to talk about that. You already know that. But the color reproduction is absolutely excellent. I have never had a phone that I'm using for a very long period of time and I have no eye strain, no pain. I sleep, I got no headache even at night and so on. When you go into the... No, we're not turning off. When you go into the settings, and you go into display. Now, you have screen mode natural, but this natural is different. A lot of people say that like, oh, the colors are washed out. No, these are the actual accurate colors, fairly and much more accurate than on any other Samsung phone before. And then when you go into the vivid mode, for the first time, the screen is vivid, but I'm not going to have any colors that are bleeding over to other pixels. This is the first time that I can actually set it to vivid mode and not have that puke rainbow of color shutting me. Like, the colors are vibrant, but they are really well controlled. And a bonus on top of that with One UI 5.0. Even if you go into display and then you set it to natural mode, which you can do, is you go into color adjustment, which is going to boost certain colors based on your personal preference. This is used to aid, certain visual disabilities, depending on which colors you're having problem differentiating. But even if you don't have any actual impairment, This can help you tweak certain aspects of the display to your liking, and it's an absolutely amazing addition. So if you combine the size, the speed, the CPU, which makes animations flawless, and the quality of the panel, you have the absolute utmost best experience that you can get on any smartphone. And these are the little things that differentiate a flagship versus the flagship killer. I see a lot of people going like, oh, why should I buy a Samsung flagship phone when I can buy a OnePlus or whatever phone which is a flagship killer and I can pay half the price? Yes, I agree. But the only thing you're going to get might be raw performance. But there are other small, tiny areas of phone refinement that make the flagship cost as much as it does. You will never get the experience with a so-called flagship killer that you will get with an actual flagship. So, enough ranting about the display. Display is absolutely gorgeous. Speakers and audio. All right. So the speakers are good. How do I define this the best way? You're not going to get the iPhone quality of speakers. So what I mean by that, the iPhone quality is very booming at all frequencies. I'm an audio engineer. I produce a lot of my own music. These particular speakers, they're very clear and they are very boosted in the mid and high mid range, and you do get some lower end, but the emphasis with these speakers is more on the sheer quality and the interpretation of giving you kind of a spatial immersion audio rather than giving you a bass that's gonna thump. And this is done in a very artificial way, but it's done fairly well. So I will play my own song so that I don't get copyright strike. All right, so the point is, as I always say, you cannot really hear the quality of the speakers, but you can hear that there is no cracking at the highest volume. Of course, you get Dolby Atmos, which this time can actually be turned off, even if you're, on speakers, which is a great thing. So you do get preference. Now, headphone audio is absolutely amazing. You get Bluetooth 5.0 with certain 5.2 with certain 5.2 characteristics, and the audio quality has been enhanced. Now, I have used two pairs of earbuds or headphones for testing, which are the Audio-Technica M50X Bluetooth and the Sony WFC 500, Sony please naming scheme. And they give different audio experiences, but I will focus on these. For anybody who uses audio, these are very flat. I use them to monitor myself when I'm playing, when I'm recording, and in certain aspects I'm going to use these when I'm mixing music, not really that much when I'm mastering. So what I did like with the tuning of the Samsung audio deck, when you are connected to the Bluetooth and you turn Dolby Atmos off, in my M50Xs you will get the perfectly flat, natural, controlled sound with absolutely no emphasis in any frequency, which is the best I have ever heard on any smartphone. And then if you want the exciting, party, booming thing sound, then you turn Dolby Atmos on, and what happens is that the sound stage in the mids and highs narrows, they go down, you get that V-shape dip down, the bass comes forward and you get that, immersive bass and so on. So the audio properties of this phone are absolutely amazing. Doesn't matter which kind of a listener you are, called quote-unquote audiophile or just a general listener, you will have an amazing experience with this one in particular. All right, that covers audio. Performance has been stellar. You get the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 chip inside. A lot of people have been complaining that it overheats and whatnot. I did not have this experience. When I played casual gaming, Fruit Ninja, Subway Surfer, I had no heat whatsoever, not even mildly warm. When I played Asphalt 8 and I played the Chinese version of Arena of Valor, which is this one here, the phone got mildly warm, but that was it. 60 frames per second. Graphics were mid to high, and so on and so forth. Like, I really did not experience any overheating issues whatsoever. I did not play Genshin Impact or any other demanding game, but I can assume that if you go into Genshin Impact and you crank up the graphics to 90 120 frames per second and everything is HDR, yes, it's gonna work, but of course it's gonna overheat. Like, even my laptop that has a Ryzen 7 um, 5800H CPU inside, and it's a gaming laptop, of course it's going to overheat and go to 100 degrees if I crank up the GPU. I mean, the logic is that, of course, it's a small phone, it's going to handle casual to even demanding games, but if you really push it to the extent of playing 120 frames per second games, like, of course it's going to overheat. So, like I said, if you are using it as any regular user without any extreme tension, I had no issues. I've had no issues with what people say, like you go outside and then the phone overheats just, looking for signal. I never had that. However, and this is where I'm going into both the battery and performance crossover. Battery. I turn 5G off. 5G for me is the biggest scam of the 21st century. You don't need it. Anything that you need, whether it's YouTube or gaming or social media apps, they're going to work perfectly fine on 4G, and your battery is going to improve and your signal is going to be much more stable. I always keep saying one thing. If you go into general management, battery, background usage image, deep sleeping apps, you put everything that you don't need into deep sleep. You don't need notifications from Facebook and Instagram and whatnot. If you want to check it, take the phone out of your pocket and check. The only apps that, I don't know, are running in the background for me are WeChat, because again, in China, that's the for work and whatever messages, like, that's the only app that's working, and location services, and that's it. Battery life for me has been 5+ hours of screen on time with I'm not babysitting the phone. I'm not, no gloves, no nothing. I'm using it. I'm streaming high quality, high res audio from QQ Music or the media player. Sorry, Sony. And I've been using it for, WeChat, Facebook, whatever normal usage would be. I would get 5 to 6 hours of screen on time every given time of the day, and I had no issues. However, if you are a person that uses a lot of 5G and that you use GPS and location services all the time, you're in a car and so on, I am pretty sure that your battery experience will change drastically. The GPS on this phone, for God knows which reason, drains a lot of battery. If you spend a lot of time in your car or your bike and you use GPS to drive around, I suggest going for the S22 Plus or the S22 Ultra or any other phone and so on. Charging speeds, again, for me have been fine. I'm a kind of a person that has a charger everywhere, whether it's a house or office or wherever I go. 25 watt Samsung proprietary charger charges anything between an hour and 10-15 minutes. So again, 0 to 60% I get in half an hour. Within 45 50 minutes you get to 80%. Now 80 to 100 takes an enormous amount of time, which is good for the battery longevity. I understand why they put the battery of 3700 milliamp hours inside. If you have read the news and listened to people, their older Samsung phones, they have these issues with battery swelling if you don't use the phone, and there was that Note 7 incident from years ago. This definitely tells us that the way Samsung or Samsung's partner manufacturers, the way they make batteries, they use certain technology which is questionable. Honestly, I would rather have a slightly smaller battery in my phone than have a phone that's gonna explode if I plug it in. So yeah, battery life for me really isn't an issue, but I explained the usage scenarios. Camera experience has been great. The key point is the 50 megapixel camera. Smaller megapixels, faster shooting time or faster shutter speed. On the Note 20 Ultra that I used, I always struggle because it takes a lot of time. It's 180 megapixels, then it has to bin it down, then the post-processing kicks in, and so on and so forth. This is faster. The pictures that come out of this are great. So for example, I took this some minutes ago in my room. So this is a room that is completely dark. I'm just gaming and YouTubing on my laptop, and you can only see the laptop. With the night mode on, it's going to brighten up everything, and it does that very unnaturally. But this gives you a lot of room to play if you install Snapseed or any other photo editing software, so you will have a lot of room to edit these photos like I do on the go. Selfie camera is good. Me with some friends. Again, there is no blown out highlights, there is no issues, there is no optical lens juddering, no distortion, no lens distortion. The colors come out great. Again, in a very dark room, no night mode. This is just from the wall projector, the light is coming out. So yeah, you're gonna have no issues. Video, front-facing camera. I'm gonna play audio for a second. This is me playing guitar. So what is important? The speaker out of which the guitar sound comes was exactly behind the phone, and there's no cracking, no distortion, none of that. The audio has been captured perfectly. If you take a look at the video, this is a front-facing camera in a very, very poorly lit environment. There's no grain, there's no noise, there's no blown highlights. The video is absolutely stunning. And if this comes out from the front-facing camera, I don't really need to go into back cameras for that. Like, the video is really superb. So literally, that's the reason why you buy a flagship, and namely that's the reason why you buy a Samsung flagship. So you get a stellar display with absolutely amazing color accuracy. You get great speakers for anything that you want to consume. The phone is very pocket friendly. It's small. It's very refreshing that I get a flagship that doesn't it's not a behemoth of a phone, and it's not gonna make me lose my pants somewhere along the way. What I do like is that the bezels are equal on every side of the phone, because I was also considering the Asus Zenfone 9, but when you look at the phone from the front side, that bottom bezel is just so that's why you buy a flagship. It's refined. The only thing you need to keep in your mind is that the battery life can be hit and miss depending on the usage. For me personally, I get 5 to 6 hours of screen on time, but that's because I do not use 5G and I rarely use GPS. I stream a lot of music, I play games, I go onto social media, take pictures, videos of my kid, running around and all that. So yeah, I mean, whether you should buy this or wait for the S23, the S23 is about to come out maybe a week or 10 days from now, from the time of shooting this video. Every single leak that we had says that the S23 is going to be pretty much the exactly same phone with Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 and a 3900 milliamp battery, which honestly is insignificant, but the price difference is going to be significant. I would generally suggest going for the S22. Now you can find them on sale. You can buy them for as low as $450 right now, brand new. You can find used, refurbished. They're absolutely amazing phones. Any questions that you might have, leave them down in the comments. And again, I have no affiliate links. I get everything that I make. Every single one of my reviews is my personal opinion. I do not get phones for free. I have no affiliate links. I'm a university professor. I make money otherwise. So these are my genuine impressions. So yeah, have a great day.